Adrian lived in the city and often traveled to the nearby mountains, where he would set up a tent and spend several days in the woods. Camping was not only a source of entertainment for him but also gave him the opportunity to spend some time alone. He relaxed and recovered after the stressful work in the city. But one day, something happened that changed his life forever. While sitting in front of his tent, lighting a small fire, Adrian heard a noise. It was some whimpering, piercing, moaning sound. The man had spent a lot of time in those mountains but had never heard such a noise before. Adrian stood up and slowly walked in the direction from which he assumed the crying was coming. It was, of course, hard to determine the source of the noise, as the trees muffled the sound. But finally, Adrian saw something that made him gasp. In front of him lay two tiny tiger cubs. They were only a few weeks old, and they looked terribly helpless and defenseless. Adrian's first thought was to pick them up and take them to a safe place. But he knew that their mother must be somewhere nearby. Maybe she had gone off to find food, or perhaps she was close by, watching Adrian carefully. Either way, Adrian left the cubs where they were, to avoid the danger of being attacked by their mother. However, after a few days, it became clear that no one was looking for the cubs. Their mother was gone, and the tiger cubs were left to fend for themselves. When Adrian noticed how emaciated they were, he realized that he had to take action. So he packed his camping gear and picked up the two crying cubs. When Adrian returned home, he was greeted by his cat, Princess. She was a beautiful little cat who had given birth to several litters of kittens. Adrian loved Princess with all his heart. Spending evenings with her and petting her was also one of the things that helped him relax after long, intense days. But when Princess saw the two cubs, she immediately became curious. She glanced from the little ones to Adrian, as if asking who they were, where they had come from, and why they were there. Adrian didn't have time to explain because he needed to quickly feed the cubs to give them any chance of survival. Princess watched as Adrian fed the little ones. At that moment, the cat did something remarkable. She approached the cubs and began to play gently with them. Although the cubs were the same size as the cat herself, Princess knew that they needed to be taken care of. It was as if her maternal instinct had kicked in, and she took on the role of their mother. Over the next few weeks, the cubs grew stronger and healthier. They gained weight and had more energy. Princess took care of them, and the cubs followed her as if resigning themselves to the role of kittens. She groomed them and encouraged them. As time went on, the tigers began to grow. They became bigger and stronger than Princess, yet she treated them as if they were her own little kittens. If they got too rough during play, the cat would come and break them up. Adrian couldn't help but smile when he saw his tiny cat dominating the two enormous tigers, completely commanding them. Unfortunately, the day came when the tigers grew too big to continue living with Adrian. They were getting bigger and bigger and often broke things in the house. Moreover, feeding the animals cost Adrian a fortune. So he decided to take them to the local zoo and ask them to take care of them. From that moment, Adrian felt a deep sadness, especially when he saw the sad expression on his cat's face as they left. Fortunately, the zoo was happy to accept the tigers. They had recently built a beautiful, large new enclosure where the tigers could run and play in an environment very similar to their natural habitat. After saying goodbye, Adrian left the tigers in the professional hands of the zoo staff. Adrian never returned to the zoo from that day on. But years later, Princess fell ill. She was old, and her body could no longer fight off diseases. Adrian took her to the vet, who told him it would be best to put her down. Adrian reluctantly agreed, but first, he wanted to do one last thing. He wanted to give Princess one final pleasure, so he headed to the zoo. He placed Princess in a carrier and went to the tiger enclosure. There, he immediately recognized the two tigers he had saved many years ago. Uncertain whether the two beasts still remembered him, he approached the special window. The tigers looked at Adrian but seemed indifferent, turning away as if he were just as foreign to them as the countless other people who visited them every day. Adrian was a bit disappointed, but soon after, something incredible happened. Adrian lifted his cat and showed her to the tigers. Immediately, the eyes of the two animals lit up, and they jumped against the glass. They clearly remembered the creature that had raised and protected them many years ago. The cat also recognized them. Adrian didn't know how this was possible since the tigers had grown so much since they had separated. But Princess knew that these two enormous cats were her children. It must have been the scent or some other instinct that we will never understand. Princess rubbed her body against the window and looked at the tigers. In turn, they also tried to rub against their mother. It was a very emotional reunion that melted the hearts of everyone who was there.